Aliens, do they walk amongst us, and do they trade crypto? We'll be discussing that on today's show, as well as the upcoming CPI and PPI data that will affect the markets. Before we get going, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Nothing we say is financial advice. We're just a couple guys who really enjoy the market. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to, not give any financial advice, do your own research, all of that good stuff. Kevin, we got some red on the board in the crypto market. My stock portfolio is looking good this morning. We see some nice green numbers on growth stocks over there, but a lot of fear in crypto. What are your thoughts on that? Let's jump into that part as we get the show rolling.
Yeah, it seems like we only ever see crypto move at all once it's to a CPI data date or a release or FOMC. Otherwise, it's pretty sideways. But for the most part, we're seeing a lot of maybe people anticipating that we might see not great numbers, or just in case, taking some profits. But we definitely see that we found some resistance at those upper levels, and we've been coming down. I don't think this is really a true retracement of the entire move that we saw back in early January to early February, where we shot up from 16.9 all the way to 24K. I don't think this is a retracement of it. I think we're just slowly kind of bleeding out. But stock market, again, there's certain levels in the stock market I think we're going to get a double top on. Like the Dow is actually getting pretty close to a level that we talked about last 2 weeks ago, I think, 34,376 or something like that. But we're getting pretty close. We're seeing a green day. We're going into a big news day tomorrow. So it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. I think the markets are just a little bit uncertain at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's also a lot of concern around the SEC and what they've done with Kraken. I saw a really well thought out meme today. Basically, the SEC is protecting us from Kraken, who is doing everything above board, but they sure as hell missed out on Celsius and 3AC and FTX and Insert and Voyager. It's really. I'm not surprised by all of this. The looking into staking, and as someone who has gotten dinged by the issues with Gemini and Genesis and has a bunch of money locked up there, I don't think that regulation is the worst thing in the world. So I just think we need some clarity around this, and hopefully we can kind of, the markets calm down. Maybe this is, with how well growth stocks are holding up today, and we're seeing crypto bleeding, maybe it's an opportunity, if we do happen to get a good CPI number tomorrow, but I'm not convinced we do, so let's talk about that a little bit as well. You mentioned before we started recording that the CPI data for December that was released last month was updated.
Yeah. So let me see if I can pull it up. But pretty much it was data that came out in December. It came back and it showed that the consumer prices were a little bit higher than we had reported back in January. So these are December prices, and I'm going off based off Reuters. There's a couple of CNN articles, if you guys want to believe that or not. But there is Reuters right here was saying that, I'm going to quote them, data for November was also revised higher to show that CPI increasing 0.2% instead of 0.1% as previously estimated. And then October, there was also revisions that the CPI rose from 0.5%. It had been originally reported at a 0.4% increase. So the numbers were a little bit higher than what was initially reported. Is that a lot? I don't know. But I mean, for over a few months, obviously it adds up. But the important thing, I think, is a lot of the market is trading off these CPI data numbers, and it might not be 100% accurate. And even just, these prices just going up a little bit. I think a lot of people, even economists, are saying that, this could be short-term, hit a lot of people unexpectedly, that we could see a hotter CPI print in the coming months. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got something that was maybe close or below expectations this time. Again, I don't think it's going to be as fast as everyone expects. I think that maybe the March one might be the one where people are like, okay, this is pretty bad. We're seeing the spike happen. We might start to see the slow, I won't say pivot back to the upside, but we might start to see, the transition point from where we were going down to where we're going up from. It's not necessarily great to see CPI being revised. Does it happen? Sure. But let's be honest. I said it 2 weeks ago, the market's bullshit. And this is kind of proof that it is. So just keep that in mind. And then don't get too emotional going into these dates. Obviously, the market's going to just liquidate as many people as it can once it's tomorrow and whatever comes out after that.
Okay, let's talk about UFOs. I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
lead the charge on this one.
I mean, what is there to say? It's as of yesterday, there was 4 reported UFO sightings, and that was within 8 days, and they were all shot down. And now we're getting them in. I remember there was one in Latin America that they were saying there was flying over. There was one reported in China. We got one shot down over Lake Huron yesterday in Michigan. And it's pretty wild that we're sending like jets out to shoot these things with like 400K, like $400,000 missiles. Because like I'm pretty good at darts, and I feel like I could, if I just got close enough, I could probably take a few of them out. But it's pretty insane that we're just spending a ton of money shooting down balloons. And what could this possibly be? Do a lot of people think that this is UFOs? Is this important for the market in any way? Kind of. All right, I'm not going to get too concerned about it. Obviously, there's things in the news that if it's being pushed down your throat, we're starting to see a lot of repetitive stuff. Maybe it's not necessarily the thing that you should be worrying about. Is it good to keep an eye on it because potentially it could lead to a great opportunity in the market? Absolutely. Like, I don't see this as being a UFO thing. I think, if anything, this could be a precursor to a potential war or a potential outbreak where we see a privacy or trade war between the U.S. and China. It's very likely that could happen. I don't think that it's going to hurt the markets long term. Obviously, there's benefits to war. That's why countries always go. United States likes to be part of a lot of it. But there's definitely opportunity in seeing, like in the short term, if we do go into a privacy or trade war, that's, maybe crypto is a better asset than, say, the dollar or other, like the stock market. So there's definitely people who are going to freak out. Maybe that's the time to buy. I don't know. I'm not going to give you financial advice, but it's always good to keep an eye on it. Not necessarily the time to panic. When you see an alien, kind of like in the movie Signs, when you put a knife under the door, that's when I would panic. But for right now, I would just watch the charts, make some money on the side, and buy the dip when it's the right time, and that's you always.
I wonder if the aliens are bullish or bearish right now. Like, are they shorting the market or are they long?
Oh, they are so short. You're kidding me? They got spaceships and they ended up here, so they definitely are a little bit more. They have a little bit more intellect than
I think they showed up. They saw how bad the charts were looking. And they're like, "Nah, we got to get out of here." And so they're just trying to like head on home. So let's move on from alien talk and let's get into the good stuff. I think we covered, for the most part. I mean, the macro is pretty straightforward. We're still in this phase of everything revolves around inflation and jobs, and any report that is going to impact that and impact the Fed's fund rate is going to be the center of attention, and that's what's going to move the market. So on the macro side, pretty straightforward right there. I keep seeing more and more stuff about how bad the housing market is getting and how we're on the verge of it like really taking a dump, which I mean, that's another reason to have cash on hand is like, are we going to see this is going to be a generational housing market opportunity for the people who, for the last decade have been priced out? Because we've seen, everyone's seen the statistics of like, Gen Z or whichever. I don't even know the different ones at this point, but like the generation, like your age, the youths of the country, buying houses is a lot more challenging than it was for the baby boomers. And, maybe there'll be an opportunity in the coming years for, people who've been saving for a while and haven't had the chance to buy a house to finally get one. So, from that standpoint, I think it'd be a good thing. And owning more property is never a bad idea, really.
No, I mean, it's been pretty easy for my generation, I think, if they had like an OnlyFans account to be buying property. But for the most part, it's been pretty hard and difficult for, for the average American, kids working 9 to 5s or just like McDonald's and stuff like that. Obviously, rent is even high for a lot of people. But I was looking at
would like to clarify real quick. Kevin and I are not shaming. We are not like shaming OnlyFans accounts at all. We are, that's capitalism right there. So I'm in favor of that. So, make that cheddar and reinvest it into the stock, into the real estate market.
Absolutely. But I was going to bring up commercial real estate. Like, obviously, the Fed funds rate's going up and it's going to impact a lot of companies. Companies are going to lay people off. And if, there's no workers necessarily, what's the need for having office space? So obviously there's a lot of, commercial real estate, they're going to suffer, I think, a pretty good amount going into this year, into next year. And the housing market, I still think there's a huge bubble. It's going to come down. It bounced a little bit, went back up, but I think that's very similar to like the auto market where, we're starting to see used cars go up. I think it was 2.5% in the month of January. We might start to see some of that come down or it just increase entirely. So be very interesting to see. Housing market is definitely something that I think is super fragile, and it could provide a really good opportunity, like you were saying, for people who've never been able to purchase property before.
For sure. All right, let's move into the DXY. Let's get into some of the charts. Let's get into the fun stuff.
Let's do it. Just pull this over here. DXY. Yeah, so DXY has been pretty wild for the past week. Again, it's pretty easy to say this thing's going up at some point when I've been saying that, I know, for months. But we're seeing a little bit of a red day today. This might be something that we had been anticipating. Like I said, the daily stochastic RSI for the DXY is pretty high. I definitely think it needs to correct. Looks like we came up to this 50-day moving average on the daily, got rejected from it. Probably going to come down and find somewhere, some range where there's going to be some support. I was looking at it last night, and I believe the levels I was looking at were 102.69 and 102.038. That would be a good range for there to find some support. So that'd be this blue line right here, and 102.69 would be right here, or wick down to on, let's see, Thursday. Yeah, so we came down here, and then obviously it bounced off this level too here on the 23rd. But that would be a pretty good level for me to see it bounce from. Could it go lower? Absolutely. We could retest this level or even this support line. But however, when I look at the weekly on the stochastic RSI, we are coming up pretty strong. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little correction over the next few days. And then with this weekly momentum, we definitely would have enough to break 103. Then hopefully we get to above 104 or 105. And again, this doesn't have to happen naturally. I mean, it could just happen. CPI data comes back extremely hot, and people are realizing, okay, this isn't over. They're going to continue to raise rates. This isn't going to be great for the economy. It's not going to be great for the market. So then they're just going to start de-risking, putting everything in cash. The XY is going to naturally go up. So it's going to be interesting to see how the CPI data comes back tomorrow. I still think the dollar is looking extremely strong. Again, one red day doesn't necessarily tell you the whole narrative. We see this impulsive. This could be, a 3-wave, a 5-wave move to the upside. A little bit of a retracement here, but I'm still pretty happy with how the dollar is looking. Came down here. Yeah, this looks pretty good to me. I'm not being Jim Cramer here, but pretty compared to other risk assets.
Speaking of Jim Cramer, he also, and not to get too far off topic, he appears to also be a good counter signal when it comes to sports betting because he was all over the Eagles yesterday. And so I was like, all right, we're going to hammer the Chiefs. And boom, there it was.
You know why Eagles fans are so rowdy? Because they listened to him and got rid of Meta like 3 months ago. They saw him on TV and they got rid of it. So now they're angry at the world and the Kansas City Chiefs.
God, can you imagine if you had – how much money would you have if you bought Meta when he cried on TV about it, held until yesterday or held until, last week, sold it, and then bet all that on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? I mean, that you would just be – that'd be back-to-back, you would have doubled – you quadrupled your money. Congratulations for anyone who just continues to pay Jim Cramer.
You definitely have more money. Let's put it that way.
All right. Let's do it again. Let's get into Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, wonderful. So let's just go to the weekly close because this has been pretty interesting. And again, the entire time we have been on this show, I've always shown the Bitcoin USDT pair just because I don't know. I built my chart around that. I tend to follow USDT just in case if I have to trade on different platforms, not just Binance, but maybe KuCoin or Bybit or something like that. I don't have Bybit, but this is definitely something that I like to focus on. But I'm going to shoot over to the USD pair because this is something that happened last night. We got the death cross. Congratulations, everyone. If you've survived Bitcoin's weekly death cross. The world is still standing. The aliens haven't taken over your minds just yet. But for right now, we see that the price is getting rejected here. Volume is red, but it's coming down. It looks pretty low, to be honest. And we could see that on the stochastic RSI, we're coming down. So all you need is one bad day, And again, this could be going down like $1,000 or something like that. That 50 is obviously going to be dragged straight underneath, and this 200 is going to be serve as resistance. I don't know if you'll retest it. Maybe you will retest it, but for the most part, I definitely think that this is a pretty big indicator of what's to come over the next few months. I mean, that compared with a strong the dollar against risk assets, you say the Fed funds rates continue to go up. This thing is just primed, I think, to take a really big hit. Does not have to happen tomorrow. I still think that a lot of the markets that's going to scare people out is going to be unexpected. People aren't going to know when it's coming. We can see that people who have thousands of Bitcoin, they're not buying the market. They're still de-risking. It's just like distribution phase right now where everyone who had bought a lot earlier are offloading it now at a profit, and everyone buying it now is just going to end up holding these bags. This was, again, a theory that we have been talking about for months. I think it's going to end up coming true. Could it be this month? Could it be next month? Sure, it totally can. But we're looking at this, and I just want to see from here to where we broke out of this. That's 10% drop. That would bring us to about 19.33. I think that if we do drop in Bitcoin and it's significant, whether it's CPI or anything in the coming weeks, I think that 19.6 level is going to be extremely important. That was one on the monthly that we were looking at for a while. Here, let me pull it up real quick. So 19.63, that was somewhere around here. But we got rejected from, we came above it, and then here we got rejected from it on the monthly, broke out, and then we got this massive green candle out of nowhere. That was 100% what I still believe is a bull trap. That was a 45% move. We came above 19.6, and we got rejected right off here off this the 50 on the monthly, but it's on the weekly it was a 200. We got rejected. I think we're going to come back down. I think we're going to close below 19.6 at some point. If we close below 19.6, and that's the second time that it's happened, most likely you're going to go down to 13.9, which would be that would be pretty much where we would be in line with estimates for the end of the bear market. I don't say that is the end of the bear market. It would be reasonable to say, since that is monthly support where we would find, but I do think that we would have a little bit further to go based on liquidations and people just making as much money as possible during the emotionally charged times for the market.
Man, the death cross, it happened. It happened.
Exciting.
Oof. It's terrifying. What are you talking about exciting? We'll have to see how it plays out, man. Maybe that's why the UFOs left yesterday. They were just like, death cross. Anyway, sorry, I keep going back to the UFOs. Anything else you want to talk on BTC before we go into ETH?
Bitcoin, no. I think the death cross is enough for people. Let's just take it in, relax. You know where the market's probably going to be going. And again, just don't freak out. Just because it happened last night doesn't mean it's the time to buy or sell. Again, don't forget, we're still in liquidation season. People will make as much money as they can off of you at any opportunity. Just have a plan and stick to it. And then if you think it's wrong based off whatever evidence or reason that you have, adapt or accept, the plan. Whatever happens in the market, you can just change based on that. But no financial advice here.
Okay.
Ethereum.
Touch on ETH before we wrap it up.
Yeah, pull up ETH. ETH is, I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. Let's see. I can see that there we go. JWeb, what did I tell you last week? I said the market was bullshit, but I said that ETH above 200, the 200 EMA was a complete fake out. And look where we are. Closed last night below the 200 EMA. Tells you that we're not in a bull market, that we was just 100% trapping liquidity up here. You trapped a bunch of longs here. Now, this makes me so excited because I knew that this was a fake out here. But, everyone got screwed up here, unfortunately. Came down and closed below this. Now, this is going to be resistance, this 200 EMA. You're not in a bull market. You're coming down. Obviously, the stochastic RSI is pointing to the downside. Could this be people preparing for whatever CPI data? Sure. That's the same across the board for all coins. And I will pull up Bitcoin dominance too after this just because I want to see what that's looking like. But this is the weekly. Let's go to the daily for ETH. Yeah, the daily, you're just under the 50 right now. That could serve as resistance there too, and we just come straight down. Again, look at these daily candles right here. This is ridiculous. This is just green all the way up. Like how many days in a row of just green candles? That's like all, I don't know. You ever see the movie Shrek?
Of course.
Okay, you know when he pulls that green candle out of his ear? That looks like he pulled like 20 of them out of his ear. It's just BS to me. That's 100% just going up for no reason. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 20 days of red ones coming down.
Listen, I know that we're not the best YouTube show, but where else are you going to get technical analysis that incorporates the movie Shrek? Literally nowhere else. So keep on coming back. All right, let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Come for us, and I don't know. I had a joke there, but I forgot it. We're going to come back down, and we see that on the daily we're pretty oversold, and we've kind of been oversold for a few days. But the volumes have came down. They're pretty low right now. I think this might just be a little bit of sideways trading or not too much volume going into CPI. I expect this volume to shoot up tomorrow. In either direction, again, I don't think that we are out of the woods just yet. Even though on the weekly and the monthly we are below this currently and we close below it, that's a pretty good indicator. We just have to wait and see. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some green candle or something come up to this parallel channel, come up above it. You'll see the momentum kind of move fast over a few days. That could potentially be a play. If not, I think that the main target, though, for this on the macro is 1338. Again, this was resistance. We saw resistance here, and then we broke through it here. And again, we've seen resistance over here in this area as well. But I think that 1338 is going to be a good place to check on the monthly, see if we get below that, if we're above it. And if we're below it and we close below it, I anticipate that 1083 to be tested again. This could be, that's why I'm going to go into Bitcoin dominance, because this is a pretty big move for Ethereum to go from there to there. Let's see, that's currently here. Down here would be a 10% move, and down to 1083 would be a 27% move. So, I mean, that's a pretty good move, but considering where we were from down here to up there, that's 42%. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the play. And again, we can't forget that in July 2018, Bitcoin shot up 48% or something like that. And then over the next 30 days, it was down 30%. So these things retrace pretty substantially. They go up pretty substantially. But I think that there is definitely a possibility that we could see this 1083. I would like to see the 1338, though, close on the monthly, just to give validation that we are going to be going lower. But that's what I'm seeing with ETH. Nothing too crazy here. And let me just pull up the monthly one more time. Yeah, monthly I would like to see below this 1338. That would be a pretty good indicator that we're going to come down a lot lower. I still expect us to see some really good opportunities with ETH below 1,000. But again, that's just going to be a waiting game to see how the market reacts to Chinese weather balloons and, I don't know, everything else that's coming at us. The abominable snowman that it's going to be attacking every city. I don't know.
Is there a new bird flu strain going around? Like, I thought I heard something about that too.
Probably. I don't know. Everything. The world's falling apart. Like I said,
birds don't trade crypto, so why would that impact the market at all?
No, it's, I guess, eggs. Eggs apparently are, yeah. It's the only thing I can think of. But it's the world's on a wire right now. Like, there's so much bad. You could say it's bad news. There's so much noise, I think it is. Just, constantly bombarding everyone. No one's really sure what's going to happen. Is Paxos going to end up, screwing Binance over in the SEC case? There's so much stuff going on right now. Again, it's just, I think the best move for a lot of people is just head down, focus, stack that cash, and then there's going to be great opportunities once all this clears out and you realize, okay, the market's overreacted hugely for a lot of these events, and now that's opportunity. But that's what I'm seeing with ETH. Let's go to Bitcoin dominance, because right now it looks like let's go to the daily. The daily looks like there's room to the upside. We obviously came down a little bit. We found some support. Oddly, we found some support on the 50-day moving average. Now, this is pretty important for me because we can see that the stochastic RSI is oversold. We bounced off this. That means that supports are going 1, 2. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit of a push up. And now, is that good or bad? Depends if you're in a bull or a bear market. If Bitcoin dominance is pretty high, that means whatever Bitcoin does, alts are going to get dragged down with it probably a lot harder. So the higher that goes and you're in a bear market, that's not necessarily the greatest combination. If you're in a bull market and Bitcoin dominance is high, obviously it's going to drag everything up. But right now we're seeing that it's found some support. It's got legs to the upside on the daily. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly looks like it's ready to come down. So it'll be very interesting to see if we find maybe some support here at 42. I think it's probably going to come down again to some level down here. I'm not going to get overly bullish on Bitcoin dominance at the moment. I do think that it is going to drag a lot of the market down. But it's interesting to see that the daily looks like it's about to rip, while everything else looks like it's about to come down. And then we got CPI data coming out tomorrow. Could this be the perfect storm? Maybe. I don't know. But maybe it's something later in the month or next month where we begin to see that that major rip for a lot of these coins in either direction.
Okay. I think that covers pretty much everything on the charting side. I think we did a deep dive into aliens and how that's impacting the market. So I feel pretty good about wrapping up this show right now. I think this was like an A- effort for us today.
I'll take it. I definitely got to go watch some signs tonight, and I'm not talking about. I don't know. I had a joke there, but I don't know. I'm half asleep right now. These aliens have been sucking my brain. I got to put my Turkey Kiss hat on. I don't know.
Kevin, get it together. All right. That's where we're going to end it for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. CPI tomorrow, PPI on Thursday, I want to say.
UFOs.
So UFOs every day. So a lot of big stuff happening. We'll be back on Thursday afternoon, so we'll have some more data points that we can kind of look at. Expecting volatility. Whatever happens tomorrow, don't overreact to it. Keep we're in this for the long haul, okay? Trading CPI prints can be a bit of a fool's errand. You're probably playing a losing game right there if you're trying to be super active with it. So, place your bets, have your investment thesis, and be confident with that, and we'll all make it out of this okay. So, once again, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. If you enjoy our content, we would love it if you shared it. If you don't enjoy our content, that's okay too. You can also share it because we just need more people to watch it. So for Kevin, for the team at FLOLiO, I'm Jeremy. Have an awesome week, everybody. We will see you next time.
I want to believe.